Welcome back to the BBQ Beautiful Podcast, where we talk about all things smoked meat and so much more, including hilarious stories about our farm-to-table lifestyle and our love of the outdoors. I'm your host, Trevor. Be sure to tune in until the end of today's episode for this week's feature recipe and how you can qualify for the Barbecue Brag to Win giveaway contest. Episode 7, let's do this. Hello, I'm your host, Trevor. And today we're diving into a hot trend that's been taking the culinary world by storm. Farm-to-table barbecue. That's right, we're talking about connecting with local farms to source the freshest ingredients for our grilling adventures. And trust me, it's not just about slapping a steak on the grill, it's a whole lifestyle. Now, you may be thinking farm-to-table, is that like when you go to the farmer's market, buy a tomato, then slap it on a slice of bread? Like it's some kind of culinary masterpiece? Not exactly. The farm-to-table movement is much more than that. It's about going back to our roots and connecting with where our food comes from. In the old days, food just appeared. We'd go to the store, buy a bunch of stuff, and then magically end up with a meal. But now people are rediscovering the beauty of knowing exactly where their food comes from, how it was grown, and most important, how to make it taste so good that even your dog will look at you like, hey human, you should open up a restaurant. So what's the deal with farm-to-table cooking? Well, let's break it down. It's about sourcing fresh, seasonal ingredients direct from local farms. And when we say local, we mean so local that your food might have been picked earlier that day by someone who knows your first name because you both saw each other in the coffee shop this morning. It's food that's been lovingly grown, raised, or harvested nearby. No middlemen. No preservatives. Just food in its purest, most delicious form. So forget about your average grocery store lettuce that's traveled 5,000 miles to get to your plate. Or more. And think about picking that lettuce fresh, still warm from the sun, right from the field. Bonus points if it's your own field. But wait, there's more. Farm to table isn't just for vegetables, folks. Oh no, we've got the full Monty here. Grass-fed beef, heritage pork, free-range chickens, and eggs so fresh you'd think they were laid by a chicken who just got a degree in organic agriculture. This isn't your standard supermarket fare, where the chicken breasts look like they've been to the gym on 6 rounds of steroids. This is food that actually tastes like something. Tender, juicy, and with the kind of flavors that make your taste buds do a little happy dance. And let's be honest, if you haven't had a steak from a local farm that makes you want to shout hallelujah from the mountaintops, are you even living? And now, let's talk about the barbecue angle. This is where the real magic happens, my friends. When we say farm to table barbecue, we mean smoking, grilling, and roasting meats that have been lovingly raised with care by your local farmer. You just want to know how they got them to taste so dang good. Barbecue and farm to table are a match made in culinary heaven. There's something about the way fresh, high quality meat pairs with wood smoke that creates an almost spiritual experience. And the beauty of cooking with fresh ingredients is that you don't have to do too much to them to make them taste incredible. No need for complicated marinades, fancy gadgets, or obscure spices you can't pronounce. Just simply choose one of the BBQ Beautiful seasonings and you're good to go. Check them out on our website, www.barbecuebeautiful.ca. But here's where the real kicker comes in. When you're cooking farm-to-table barbecue, you're not just feeding your friends and family, you're feeding the soul. It's about community, it's about sustainability, and it's about supporting local farmers who are keeping it real. And let's be honest, nothing says I care about you like offering someone a plate of food that has a backstory. One that involves a farmer waking up at 4 a.m. to ensure that your chicken was raised on the finest organic grains and was possibly sung to sleep every night. So whether you're into slow-cooked ribs that take hours to perfect, or just slapping a burger on the grill, the farm-to-table barbecue trend is about celebrating the good stuff. The stuff that's raised with care, cooked with love, and of course, eaten with pure joy. Now let's face it, we all love a good backyard barbecue. But when did it become a badge of honor to say that your meat was raised just down the road? Or better yet, right in your own backyard? I mean, I remember when the only thing I cared about was whether my burgers were frozen or fresh. But here's where we are, folks. Living in a world where the cow that your brisket came from might have its own Instagram account. And I'm not kidding about that. So let's talk about the local farm scene. What's all the fuss about? How about cows, pigs, turkeys, chickens? And hey, are those fresh garden potatoes, carrots, and corn? Here at BBQ Beautiful, our pigs, cows, turkeys, and chickens are fed an organic diet and finished to our liking. The animals live better lives than I do. They have mud baths, fresh air, plenty of room to roam, and an unlimited buffet of food. You know what? If I could eat like that, I'd be happier too. Time to go pick some chicken eggs. Another huge bonus of raising your own livestock. When making side dishes, we go through the eggs, let me tell you. 18 into the potato salad, and what seems like an endless supply of deviled eggs. Be careful though, because if they're available, it's pretty easy to garberate 13 of them before you realize how full you really are. Leave room for the smoked meat. That's why you came. Now let's talk about the challenge of sourcing ingredients for a farm-to-table barbecue. It's not as simple as picking up a plate of hot dogs at the supermarket. Oh no, you have to think ahead, like you're planning an elaborate heist rather than a cookout. Start looking into local farms for fresh produce, when in season. Where can you find heirloom tomatoes? What about artesian bread? And where do you get duck eggs? Check out your local butcher shops, farmers markets, internet or social media postings, or take a drive in the country looking for a small farm advertising their products. Usually it's just going to be a giant sign or spray paint on the side of stacked round bales. Something like fresh chicken eggs for sale or fresh beef sold here. Now let's talk barbecue prep. With all the fresh produce and ethically sourced meat, it's time to throw a farm-to-table barbecue. I mean, this will be the talk of the town. Or at least the talk of your small group of friends who always eat your food and pretend it's gourmet. Try making a classic, a smoked brisket, pork shoulder, turkey drumsticks, and all the sides. Try to add a big plate of fresh grilled vegetables. After all, who doesn't love grilled vegetables? But I always discover that my plate of vegetables is still full at the end of the night, and the plates of meat have been emptied and licked clean. Oh well, farm to table, and table to farm. The animals have to eat too. When the big day arrives, get ready to impress. Set up your smoker, grill, barbecue, and get the fire going. Prepare to showcase your farm to table barbecue. Here's a little tip. Don't promise dinner will be ready at 5 p.m. Dinner will be ready when the meat is finished on the pit and all the stalls have worked themselves out. Those who know, know. So when your friends start arriving, make sure there's copious amounts of adult beverages and maybe a little music to keep everyone happy until it's time to eat. Despite the vegetables not getting eaten, the farm-to-table barbecue always turns into a fun night filled with laughter, ridiculous stories, and way too much food and drink. The highlight of the evening will be the brisket and the rest of the meat. You should have cooked 2 of each because you're going to want the leftovers for all the recipes you can make over the next coming week. And that big platter of untouched grilled vegetables? Give it to the kids to go feed the chickens, turkeys, and pigs. They'll have a blast. So what's the takeaway from today's episode? Farm to table barbecue is an adventure, full of ups and downs, and sometimes more downs than ups. But that's what makes it fun. It's about trying new things, learning from mistakes, and try not taking yourself too seriously. Just have fun with it. Next time you fire up the smoker, barbecue, or grill, consider visiting a local farm or farmer's market, even if you end up with some oddly shaped vegetables. You'll have a story to tell and a good laugh along the way. After all, barbecue is about bringing people together, whether it's over a perfectly cooked brisket or a veggie disaster. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the BBQ Beautiful Podcast. I hope you're inspired to embrace the farm to table trend, even if it means a few kitchen fumbles. Share your own barbecue stories and adventures with me on social media. I'd love to hear them. Today's feature recipe, classic spare ribs. So when choosing the right spare ribs for smoking, there are a few key factors to keep in mind to ensure you get the best results. First, look for spare ribs or St. Louis style ribs, as both are popular options for smoking. Spare ribs are the full, untrimmed rack of ribs taken from the lower section of the pig's rib cage, closer to the belly. They are typically longer and have more meat and fat, which can make them more flavorful, but also a bit tougher than the other rib cuts. Spare ribs are typically less expensive and can take longer to cook because of the extra fat and connective tissue. St. Louis style ribs are essentially a trimmed version of spare ribs. To create a St. Louis style rib, the butcher removes the sternum, cartilage, and any uneven extra bits of meat from the spare ribs, leaving a more rectangular, uniform rack of ribs. This cut is preferred by many because it has less fat and connective tissue, making it easier to cook evenly and offering a more consistent texture. St. Louis ribs also have a higher meat to bone ratio and are typically easier to handle, which makes them a favorite for competition barbecue or grilling. Next, pay attention to the quality of the meat. Freshness is key, so choose a rib that looks moist but not watery, with a rich pink color. Avoid ribs with excessive amounts of fat or a dry, discolored surface. You also want ribs that are evenly cut with minimal bone exposure, as evenly cut ribs will affect how the meat cooks. When buying, opt for ribs with a good layer of meat on top of the bones, as this will allow you to achieve that perfect balance between tenderness and flavor. You may also want to ask your butcher to remove the silver skin, a tough membrane on the ribs, to ensure the smoke can penetrate and flavor the meat better. With the right spare rib, smoking becomes an enjoyable, rewarding experience and guarantees a delicious, flavorful meat. First rule of thumb: start with high quality meat. If possible, source the meat at your local butcher shop or buy direct from a local farmer for best results. This simple recipe produces a phenomenal product every time. If you're used to prepping ribs with heavy binders and heavy rubs, give this recipe a try. I think the simplicity of the pork and smoke flavor will surprise you. Prep time: give yourself roughly 15 minutes. 4 to 24 hours for dry brining, and your cook time is roughly 6 to 8 hours for these ribs. Ingredients: pork spare ribs, as many as you need for the amount of people you're cooking for. Rib rub, recommended BBQ Beautiful base layer, and honey heat rub. For the spritz, you're going to need apple juice, vinegar, water, maple syrup, Wirsch, and hot sauce. Step 1, now that you have some beautiful racks of ribs in front of you, pat dry with paper towels. Using a razor sharp knife, remove any excess fat from the top and bottom of the ribs. Step 2, using some paper towel, remove the membrane on the bottom of the ribs, if this hasn't been done already by the butcher. Step 3, lightly season the top and bottom of ribs with BBQ Beautiful base layer. That's it, the ribs are prepped. If you want to have the natural pork flavor and smoke, otherwise I recommend adding some BBQ Beautiful honey heat on top of the base layer. Step 4, place the ribs in the fridge uncovered for 4 to 24 hours to dry brine. Step 5, set up your smoker for 250 to 275. Fill your water pan. If your smoker doesn't have a water pan, use an aluminum foil pan. Step 6, Place the ribs in the smoker meat side up and let cook for 3 to 4 hours until the color you're looking for is achieved. Big thing to remember here, do not open the cooker for at least the first 3 hours of the cook. Let the smoke do its thing. After 3 hours, check the ribs every 15 minutes until the desired color is achieved. When you check on the ribs, give them a good spritz to stay moist. The rib spritz recipe is as follows: 2 cups of apple juice, 1 cup of your favorite vinegar, 1/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of maple syrup, 5 dashes of Worsh, and 5 dashes of your favorite hot sauce. Place all the ingredients in your spritz bottle and shake well before using. Step 7. Once the ribs are the color you like, flip the ribs over meat side down and cook for 2 more hours, spritzing every half an hour. Step 8. Time to wrap. Aim for a temperature of 165 to 170 internal. Prepare 2 heavy-duty sheets of aluminum foil for each rack and spritz the foil. Brush a light coating of your favorite barbecue sauce on both sides of the ribs and wrap tightly. Step 9. Place the wrapped ribs back on the pit, meat side down, in the foil to braise and tenderize in the juices. Cook until probe tender. Again, probe tender. No resistance when sticking the probe into the meat, similar to probing butter. Meat is typically tender at an internal temp of 195 or greater. Again, this is a guideline, make sure you're checking often. Tip: ensure you are placing the probe into the meat between the bones. Contacting a bone with the probe will affect the temperature reading. Step 10. Open the aluminum foil. Rest the ribs for 20 minutes. Eat and enjoy. Give this recipe a shot. Use it as a base. I think the simple, classic spare rib recipe with the meat, the smoke, is going to be a phenomenal product. And then use that to develop the flavor combinations you like, and adding things like brown sugar or molasses or more maple syrup or whatever it is that you like. Give it a shot and let me know what you think. Okay, it's time for our barbecue giveaway that we're calling Barbecue Brag to Win. One lucky listener will win some amazing barbecue merch that'll take your outdoor cooking to a whole new level. Whether you're a backyard beginner or a seasoned pit master, this giveaway is going to be for you. So what's up for grabs? First, a BBQ Beautiful bundle. This includes 1 BBQ Beautiful base layer, honey heat, brisket rub, and a spicy chimney from our lineup of seasonings and rubs. Next, 1 t-shirt and hat of your choice from the BBQ Beautiful website, www.barbecuebeautiful.ca. And of course, there's going to be free shipping. How to enter? First, make sure you're subscribed to the BBQ Beautiful Podcast on your favorite podcast platform. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode or an announcement. Next, connect with us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok at BBQ Beautiful. Then share our latest episode on your stories or feed, and don't forget to tag us. Use the hashtag Barbecue Brag to Win. BBQ BRAGTOWIN. This way we can easily find your posts. Finally, drop a comment on our giveaway post telling us about your favorite barbecue recipe, or share your best barbecue tip, pictures, or videos. And here's the kicker. For each additional entry you want to earn, simply engage with us. Like and share the posts, comment on our episodes, or even send us a voice message with your barbecue questions or stories. The more you interact, the more chances you have to win. So get creative and show us your barbecue. Let's talk about the timeline. You have until the 25th of each month to enter. Mark your calendars because we'll be announcing the first winner on November 29th. You don't want to miss it, and who knows, it could be you. Why are we putting on this giveaway? Well, we want to express our thanks to each and every one of you who tunes in each week. Your support means the world, and this giveaway is our way of giving back to this amazing barbecue community that we're building together. And we really do want to hear from you. So what topics do you want us to cover in future episodes? Are there any barbecue legends or techniques you want us to dive into? Share your thoughts in the comments when you enter the giveaway. This is all about community, and we want to make sure that we're bringing the content you all love. So to recap, subscribe to the podcast, follow us on social, share our latest episode using #BarbecueBrag to win, and comment on our giveaway post. It's that easy. Get excited because this is your chance to elevate your barbecue game with some awesome gear. Good luck to everyone out there, and may the best griller win.